The secret of success is constancy to purpose. Benjamin Disraeli. My friends, each and every day, your constant focus on the markets for just 10 to 15 minutes is what it takes. Following your favorite stocks and ETFs, practice trading all you can. And when you start getting good, you start fractional trading. You know what fractional trading is? Well, I'm going to put that at the end of today's video for you, so you know what I'm talking about. Let's jump into these charts. We see stocks, gold, and Bitcoin are up. Bonds are pulling back pretty significantly for bonds. Let's jump first into the S&P 500 as we always do. Now, I'm going to call your attention first to the two-day chart. This is the Tuesday, Wednesday. Yesterday it was sitting on, it was red. It looked almost exactly like it does now. It's sitting right there on the weekly trend line. The the half day rather, was trying to push through. This is 2 days of the half day. This red down candle is Tuesday morning. Then the next red down candle is Tuesday afternoon, was trying to push through. Then on Wednesday, we have a doji sitting right there on it. And then in the afternoon, a green candle, a little green candle with a wick on top that's again sitting right on it. Up just 0.35%. We look at where we are on the weekly. Our volume, it's not quite half, and we're already 3/5 of the way through the week. But we see that we have a weak green candle not hitting the high of the prior week. So we'll continue to keep our eye on things. Don't know where we're going to end up this week, if we're going to really have 2 hard down days on Thursday and Friday, and things could turn into a red spinning top and give us everything we want for a potential down move. I don't know. And again, not excited about the market crashing, but if you can read the market going down, what does that mean? That means you ride that baby, as we saw back in February of this year when the market rotated over and hammered down. You want to be able to ride that if that is indeed what is happening. That's why we chart these markets every day, why we've been riding it up this whole time. And to pull the trade at the appropriate time and jump into a down move to magnify your wins. That's just a little bit of sophistication, being able to ride things up and down. And again, if you don't have our training on options, now one way that you can ride a down move on something like the S&P 500, I was talking about this yesterday, actually put that training out earlier in the week for you. You have something called SH. That's a single inverse for the S&P 500. PSQ, single inverse for the NASDAQ 100. So again, there are other options. But if you're interested in options, if you become a Patreon member, the first thing you get in addition to my book, 3-Wave Trading Advantages, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way, a 3-part series. Check out any of our Patreon memberships starting at $30 a month. And that money helps to fund all the expenses of the free channel that we bring to you each and every day. So as we look at things, we are waiting, watching, seeing. As I look at the directional probability, it's still decent, very decent on the S&P 500. It's even better on the NASDAQ 100, which is what we'll go to next. That is up 0.65%. It too on the 2-day chart, sitting right there on the weekly trend line. We had a red down candle in the morning, really a red spinning top, and then a green up candle. We're sitting right there above the weekly trend line on the half-day chart. Like I said, on the 2-day sitting on it, look at all that energy with a nice big red candle with lots of power. Well, I'm sorry, we don't call those candles. The energy line that we see on the volume is quite strong. And as we look at things, and remember, red doesn't mean selling volume. It means that this candle opened lower than the prior close. That's all that means. We see a red candle on the weekly chart too, and that's all that means. Haven't hit the high of last week yet. Small green candle. We'll continue to wait, watch, and see. But again, we do have the highest of all of our directional probability is on the NASDAQ right now on these charts. And people say, You know, Tom, when I'm looking at the directional probability on the trade execution summary grid, and again, you can find this in the show notes if you're a subscriber for free at chartingwealth.com. We give you the prior days. You can also go to the Patreon channel, find that same information. And of course, the Patreon members, we email the trade execution summary grid and the 5-day plus ETF trading analysis and execution plan for the next day to you the day before, which is very helpful, isn't it? So if you look on the website now, you will see the Wednesday. That was the forecast we gave at the end of the day yesterday on Tuesday. But you'll get an idea as to what that trade execution summary grid shows you. It gives you directional probability, entry, exit points, expected move in dollars, and the backtest accuracy. And of course, I am always fond of a directional probability. I particularly feel good when it's 85% or more. Don't usually get more than 85%. 80% is getting there, is good. When it gets below 80%, you know, I'm not as excited unless I really have strong candles that are backing up what I'm seeing. And that's about jumping out of a trade or into a new trade. So again, I want to see that kind of strength. Now, staying in a trade when it weakens, that's a whole different thing. We can talk more about that at another time, but that's where we are on the Qs. We are still long both the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. Now, bonds, we talked about all the energy that it took to break that trend line so decisively with this new week. That started, of course, last Wednesday, the 29th, pushed on through Thursday, then the Friday, Monday, and the Tuesday, Wednesday. Things have just accelerated down. Volume has stayed average on this 2-day chart for the last 6 days as 20-year U.S. government bonds have been crashing. And of course, there is an inverse fund for U.S. government bonds, 20-year. That's Tango Bravo Foxtrot. I showed this to you yesterday. And of course, what's beautiful about it? It's been going up as the underlying equity, that would be 20-year U.S. government bonds, is going down. See where it says short right here? Short, it is the ProShares short 20-plus year Treasury bonds. It goes up when bonds go down. So we'll continue to keep an eye on bonds as they pull back. The directional probability, not so strong in the bearish direction, but that sure appears to be the way it's going, and down today 1.09%. What about gold? Well, gold, we've seen just red on the 2-day, but you can see where the low has just sort of been around the same area since all the way back to Monday, the 27th of October. Going back now over 2 weeks. What is that about? Well, you can see here on the half-day chart, again, where it hit this low on Tuesday, the 28th in the morning, and it's really not gone below that since then. Hovering below the weekly trend line. You can see here, again, the low last week was 360.12. This week, 361.39. So we've not gone lower than last week. Don't have a lot of volume. Don't have a lot of volume on the 2-day. So again, right now, there's nothing that is pushing gold lower. And like I said, it was up for the day 1.16%. Sure not going to be jumping into gold. In fact, we're about neutral on our directional probability. Could go either way. So we're just waiting, watching, and seeing. If you're in a down move on gold, then of course you're probably just hanging on, but not thinking about entering anything right now if you're not already in something. Now let's look at where we are on Bitcoin. Bitcoin booming up today after 2 days of hard down moves. Bitcoin up 3.02%. But if I remember yesterday, it was down 6-something%, if I remember correctly. Bitcoin up 3% for the day. Still, though, after those 2 up weeks, the 29th of September and the 6th of October, Bitcoin, broke through decisively that 2-week trend line and has since been moving down, really spiking down this week. A little bit of a recovery on Wednesday, but still lots of downward pressure, even though as we do the math on Bitcoin. And again, you can read more about this in the trade execution summary grid. Well, I'm sorry, the 5-day plus ETF trading analysis and execution plan as to why the math on this is showing a bullishness. But again, it's not up to the 80-85% level, but it's not low. And again, I'm just not seeing that in the charts. That is where we are, my friends, as we end the day on Wednesday, go into Thursday. And of course, don't forget, what do we do at the end of the market on Thursday? Well, we provide our Patreon members with our weekly vertical crossovers for the week. Those are stocks in the S&P 500 that are making significant rotations in the opposite direction that they were otherwise going on the weekly chart. Some weeks we have more than others. We sort through the entire S&P 500 looking for potential candidates for you to practice trade. And that is another thing that our Patreon members get each and every week. So think about it. If you'd like to have some other candidates to potentially practice trade, this is a good place to find them. And another reason you might decide to support us by being a Patreon supporter at any of the 3 levels. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting.